When you think of Egypt, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe Sphinx, the pyramids, belly dancers, drummers on the street, pharaohs, and maybe even this. For me, as an Egyptian American, Egypt represents my culture, my family, and my roots. It doesn't necessarily represent my home because I grew up in Southern California, but it represents who I am and my values. And inherent in all of that, it's part of my story, which reflects in my purpose. You see, I'm 31 years old right now, and I have not been back to Egypt since I was 13 years old. To understand why, we're gonna have to backtrack just a bit. My dad grew up in a city called Sohag in Egypt. It's a more rural area of Egypt on the Nile. He had 7 or 8 siblings and lived there for the majority of his life. He then moved to Cairo, the capital, and in a set of fortunate or unfortunate circumstances, his business partner got sick, which led him to spend a lot of time in the hospital. At the hospital, he met one of the nurses, and a few months later, as typical old school Egyptian style, they were married. Soon after that, my mom and dad moved to California to start a new life. And this gets us back to where the story just left off. I was born in 1990 and grew up in Long Beach, California. Same year House Party came out, the movie, and just around the same time as the LA riots. There was a lot happening in Southern California at the time. Fast forward a bit, when I was 13, we decided to go to Egypt as a family. We had never done that before. Actually, we did a trip when I was about 4, but I don't really remember that trip at all. This was my first time abroad. That was the first time I felt turbulence in a plane, and I remember being in the air feeling so scared. But that trip changed me. It made me love travel and love travel the way I do today. It opened my eyes to an entirely new world at such a young age. Because Egypt, a place I had never been before, had felt so familiar. And this is why I'm making this video. Most of my dad's family is still in Egypt. And I'm going back to see them today. I leave on my flight today to go see them for the first time in 18 years. So right now, I want to talk to you about what I'm expecting, and later I'll update you on how it went. And this is the thing. This trip has very mixed emotions for me, but mixed emotions in the best way possible. See, I feel a bit tense and thrilled at the same time. People always talk about stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I feel right now I am completely outside of my comfort zone. And it's this feeling of a mix of excitement, because when you are in the unknown, everything that you see and do is with new eyes. And at the same time, I'm a bit tense and uneasy because, I don't know, I like controlling things, and the unknown is very hard to control. The reason I haven't been back to Egypt since I was 13 is because when we got back from that trip when I was 13, a few months later, my dad got sick, which led from full-time work to full-time disability for the next 7 years of his life. And then when I was 20, he ended up passing away. Shortly after that is when the Arab Spring happened. And there was a lot of instability in the country from my age around 20 to about 24 to 26 years old. So the first time I've actually had the opportunity to go back was around 27. And now at 31, the time has finally come. My dad currently only has one sibling alive. And so I'm going to be able to sit with her, and obviously her kids and other family members, but be able to sit with her and ask her questions about my dad, learn more about him. But these are some of the things that are on my mind right now before I head on the trip. One of the things I know is perception versus reality. The way Egyptians see Americans versus the reality of living in America, I bet there is a gap. In America, I know that I have privileges and opportunities that my family members back in Egypt don't have. And so I do my best to honor that by working hard, thinking generationally, and seeing what I can do to create opportunities for other people. So I'm hoping that in Egypt, this perception versus reality doesn't get in the way of our ability to connect and have a relationship. this is something else I've been thinking about. I was given this advice, which is this: be prepared that it is not what you expect. And so on the reverse side, I'm concerned about their perception versus reality. For me, I need to be cognizant of going and my perception versus reality. There could be things that could be frustrating for them. They may want to have a conversation about something difficult. There may be other things that just come up in the trip. I don't know. Maybe they're not as happy to see us as I would imagine now. I don't really think that would happen, but I'm just trying to prepare my mind so that going is very free and there's no expectations for my family, for the people I get to see, and for going to the country. I want to learn more about my mom's background and my dad's background, but at the same time, if I'm not able to pull deep wisdom or like a Mufasa moment, well, that's okay. And I think the last thing I'll say for now is I am a little bit nervous to meet them. I mean, I used to talk to them on the phone, and if you're an immigrant and your parents did this to you, you know exactly how it goes. You're just hanging out, you're a young kid, just hanging out, watching TV, playing a video game, whatever it is, and then your parents call you over in a rush, and you have to come over to the phone, and then they're like, here, talk to your uncle, aunt, second cousin from a different family. They're on the phone, they want to talk to you. And you're like, hello? And they're like, hi. And they're like, how are you? Good. Now you ask them, how are you? Oh, good. Thank you for asking. Good. Okay, good. And then you just go back and forth for like 45 seconds. That feels like 12 minutes of just saying hello and how are you? And I don't know how the conversation's gonna go. I live a totally different lifestyle. I live in Southern California. They live in Egypt. I don't know exactly what their day-to-day looks like, and I'm totally interested to find out and see all of that. But at the same time, it's going to be a really interesting experience to see how we connect and vibe. So I'm super grateful for the opportunity to go. I'm super grateful that I had the opportunity to grow up here, and I want to honor and respect everything involved. I've been given opportunities that family members of mine have not been given. I don't take that lightly. And so this trip for me is a way to experience something about my past and my history. I read a quote recently that I'm going to pull up right now that I think really speaks to why I thought this trip was so important and vital to go on. This is the quote, and it's from a book that's talking about this study that they did, and these were the findings of the study. The results of the study were astonishing. The more the child knew about their family's history, the stronger their sense of control over their lives and the higher their self-esteem. The Do You Know scale turned out to be the single best predictor of children's emotional health and happiness. For me recently, I've really been thinking about it. Life starts at 30. There's so much I had to learn between being a kid to 30 years old, and there's so much that now I understand and could approach with intentionality in my life that I really feel there's so much power in what's coming. And so this trip is not just about a vacation, it's also about learning more about my history to give me a greater sense of confidence and purpose for what I'm doing ahead in my future. Hey, thank you for watching. If you got value from this video, hit the like button. Now, this video is not typical content that I create. A lot of the content I create is around marketing or SEO or your digital software solutions and your setup. But this video was important for me because I think both of these parts, my personal life and my digital life, are 100% intertwined. So I want to share this experience, share with you how I'm growing and learning in this process, because I know all of this influences the work I do as well. With that, if you want to see more, check out the playlist wherever that is, because there's going to be more content followed up on this series. And at the same time, if you want more content like this, consider subscribing. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.